Yo,
Hi.
why you sound so angry?
Because you said yo, and then I said hi, and then you said yo again, and you said it louder, so I thought you couldn't hear me, so I was like, hi.
Annoying as F.
I was about to put the Judge Judy gif in our thing, because I was just sitting here waiting on my buddy.
Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill.
What's up, everybody? It is Carly here, bringing you episode number 15 of the Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast. As always, I am joined with my buddy, JP. How are you doing, JP?
Yo, I'm back on the Netflix and chill grind.
Yeah, we both is.
Yeah, so, we're back again.
Yeah.
I told you we'd be back. So, a little bit has happened since the last time we recorded. Basically, one of my podcasts that I was part of is continuing on without me.
No way.
Yeah, the Married with Children podcast, both me and Jerry had to part ways with. Parted ways in a, obviously like a positive manner. It wasn't like there was some kind of beef between me and Alex or anything. It just was my time to leave. And
Yeah.
I've already discussed the reasons why on various different outlets, so I figured I would just leave it at that for this. But the one positive thing about leaving Married with Children is it probably opens up the door for recording Netflix and Chill more often.
Which makes me happy.
Yeah. So when we started, we was pretty much weekly, and then we were kind of bi-weekly, and then we were kind of like bi-monthly. But I was really swamped with other podcasts, watching 15 movies for 22 shots, as well as recording Married with Children every single week. So now I am down to just 22 shots, as well as the Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast. And whenever Luis is available, we'll do some MMA stuff. But for the most part, I have two podcasts again, which is nice. It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
I mean, I also have two other podcasts, so that's cool. I mean, of course, I have the Horror Pack podcast with the boy Jer, aka Jerry. And then I also started up a podcast with the other boy, Austin, and that is the Body Bags podcast, where we basically, if you guys are familiar with the YouTube channel Body Bags, it is a weekly or let me
Daily.
reword that. Daily review channel, but there's one person per day who does a review of a movie. It could be any horror movie as long as it hasn't been reviewed previously, obviously. And then at the end of the month, we typically do a theme week where one person picks a theme. It could be like Blue Underground Week or Insect Week or something like that. And our podcast is basically to try to get that channel a little bit more hype, because it seems like it doesn't get as many views as it really deserves. And also it's just a cool way to kind of review movies, random horror movies. So basically what we do is we talk about the movies that each of us have reviewed on the channel for that month, and then for the theme week we both watch that movie and we both give a review on that movie. So that is also a monthly podcast that I do. All my podcasts are monthly, which is kind of nice because it's not that much commitment. But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to lately.
Cool. Yeah, tonight we decided to go with Veronica, which is a movie that you picked. It was your pick.
Yeah.
And Veronica is a movie that got quite a bit of buzz when it was released. I don't know who did the marketing campaign for that film, but it was like crazy because you kept seeing these articles like the most terrifying movie on Netflix and stuff like that, you know?
People are turning it off and dying while watching it.
Yeah,
Must see.
it was pretty crazy. Like, there's my cousin, his name's Scotty. He has his girlfriend Jess is kind of into horror movies, and whenever she has a horror question, she'll like ask me, and she asked me about Veronica, and it was like a day after it was released, and I was like, I've never even heard of that, and she's like, oh really? And I was like, yeah. I was like, she's like, it's on Netflix. I want to know if it was any good, and I was like, oh, I'll report back to you, and like the next day I started seeing it everywhere, so it was like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But before we get into Veronica, I did want to just say that a little bit of an announcement, not anything to do with us, but Santa Clarita Diet Season 2 is currently up on Netflix.
Yeah. Have you watched any of it yet?
I have not, but Mood said he watched the first episode or two, and he said it's still really funny and awesome. So,
nice.
If you guys remember, a while back, we covered, probably a year ago at this point, we covered the first season, and we both really loved it. So I would probably guess that you will hear us talk about season 2 in the coming weeks or months, because I can't wait to delve into it.
I can't believe that really shows how fast time goes, because I remember being like, man, we have to wait a whole year for this new season to come out, and now it's just like, it's up.
Yep. Yeah, and it kind of snuck up on me. And I really, really want to get back into how we were, where we were covering like all the new stuff that was coming out. Like, I missed that, because that was really fun for me. It gave me an excuse to watch all the stuff that I needed to watch for the end of the year, and like I got to see cool stuff like Santa Clarita Diet. So
yeah,
I'm definitely really pumped for that. That should be maybe even our next episode. It is my pick, but I don't know. There's like a ton of Netflix originals that came out too, like Ravenous and The Ritual, which I've heard so many good things and like kind of mixed reviews too about it. It seems like the consensus is that some people really like it and some people really like it but don't like the end. So that's something that I'm super intrigued to check out. And then, you know, Shudder is constantly getting their originals, which there's so many we didn't even cover. Like, it bummed me out. I wanted to cover like all of them. But there's still, I think most of them are still up on there. So we'll definitely get into some Shudder exclusive / originals content. Well, actually, technically, they don't have a ton of original stuff. We've covered the core and we covered their other original. But for the most part, they get a lot of exclusives. I know they just signed on for another couple exclusives. Plus, we got Castle Rock coming to Hulu. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of good stuff coming out, and a lot of stuff that's already out, and I can't wait to cover a lot of it. This is what's really cool about this show, is that it's called the Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast, but it should have been called the Horror Movie Streamcast, because we're basically covering anything that is streaming, and I think that it is a really cool show, and hopefully we can start growing again since we'll be back. I know we say we'll be back all the time, but I really believe it this time.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot is just coming out all of a sudden. Like, I feel like when we started the show last year, like, the movies that were just popping up just were few and far between, and like we had to like review like movies from the previous year and things like that. It just seems like there's like so much this year compared to last year around this time.
Definitely. I 100% agree with that. We've still never even covered like Stranger Things in depth or anything like that. So there's a ton of stuff that we could do, but I was thinking that let's hold off Stranger Things till season 3, and then we'll just cover the whole show, like season 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, so tonight's though we're covering Veronica, and this film was directed by who, Carly?
Paco Plaza, who also directed the Rec films, but I have never seen any of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, so he directed Rec 1, 2, and 3, which is mostly what he's known for. I hear that Rec 1 and 2 are phenomenal, People often say they're two of the best found footage films ever. And I hear Rec 3 is okay as well, but not nearly as good. That's pretty much all he's done in terms of like horror that I know of. I haven't seen any of his films besides this. Oddly enough, we did a Halloween marathon last year for Halloween, where me, Carly, and another person named Matt all picked a film to watch. And it was like, 5 films altogether. We opened with a classic. Yeah. We picked Stage Fright. And then it was Matt's pick, which he picked Possession. Then it was my pick, which I picked... or I was last, I think. You were second. What was your pick?
I don't want to talk about it.
It actually was pretty entertaining. It was like... I don't know what
It was called The Son of Sleepaway Camp, a.k.a. Memorial Valley Massacre, I believe.
Yes. Which the whole point of this was to try to pick something obscure or something that is going to wow but isn't that known. And my pick was Miss 45. I'd say Matt won the night. He picked the best movie that most fit the criteria. And then after that, we ended with a brand new film, which we did the 1922 film, for the Stephen King adaptation. And overall, like, it was a really good night. Why I brought this up is that I initially was going to pick Wreck as my title, but I didn't. So but that's how much of a film that I thought people, love it so much. It's a film that people talk about, and it's a film that none of us have seen. So I thought it would have been perfect. I kind of got scared and got cold feet at the last second with it being a subtitled film, and I knew I was going to be the 4th film in the lineup, and I thought we would be much more tired and miserable because, this generation being ADD when it comes to sitting down and watching marathons of movies. But surprisingly, even with Matt's like near 2-hour film, it went by pretty well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was mainly because we all picked very different films, including, like, the one we started with and the last one. Like, I feel like if we would have watched all serious films or, something with, like, the same theme over and over again, it would have kind of sucked. But it was a successful night. And I keep forgetting that you've never seen Wreck. I always thought you did for some reason.
Yeah, no, never seen it. So that's who directed Veronica. And the writer was also this guy, and also a guy named Fernando Navarro, who I don't think has done anything that I'm familiar with. He seems to be some sort of Mexican director or slash writer. And Paco Plaza is from Spain. So, yeah, it's technically Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this film here, Veronica, I know did well at the Toronto International Film Festival. So that's, a respected film festival that a lot of cool titles come from, which is really neat. But yeah, so do you want to get into this Spanish horror film? You want to give a plot synopsis?
Yes. So IMDb here says, Madrid, 1991. A teen girl finds herself besieged by an evil supernatural force after she plays Ouija with 2 classmates.
Yeah, so one little bit of trivia that I saw with this film that I just want to shout out off the top so I don't forget is the character is actually watching a movie called Who Can Kill a Child.
No, buddy, I wanted to say this. I was going to be like, guess what? I read the trivia and it pertains to you. But, I mean, go ahead. Just go ahead.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm more deserving of saying that is I just watched Who Can Kill a Child either last night or the night before. So that's really neat that I had just watched that movie, and that movie is also a Spanish film. Really good movie. It's a film that I think I don't know if it was written before Stephen King wrote Children of the Corn, but if it was, I think Stephen King owes a little tilt to the hat to the guy who directed Who Can Kill a Child.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very similar. It's about an island that all of the children kill the adults.
It's I think it's funny that this girl's watching this with her, like, scared siblings. I didn't realize, I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't realize what she had on the TV too much, but that's probably not the most appropriate thing.
Yeah, definitely. So this film, Veronica, here, I watched today. I know you watched it a while ago, so I'm sorry if it's not as fresh in your memory. We were supposed to record
actually, buddy, I rewatched it earlier today.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. You're dedicated.
Yeah. I actually had it, like, mainly memorized in my head, too, so I almost didn't rewatch it because it was pretty fresh, but I went ahead and did give it a rewatch, so it's extra fresh now, but I pretty much remembered, like, everything that was going on. It kind of stuck with me.
I actually watched it today earlier with a couple of other Facebook group members, Johnny and Derek, and I believe somebody else was there. Sam, maybe? I can't remember, because we did it last night, too. There's basically this program, or this website, where you can go on there and you could host movies, and there's a chat, and you could do it through, like, Netflix and stuff, and you guys could all watch the movie together.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I saw you post that, and I saw someone else had posted it, too, like, the night before, but you click on it, and it said, like, you're locked out, tell, like, Justin you're here or something. So, like, what do? You just, like, click on, or do you, like, have to tell you that you're going to watch it with you, or, like, how does it work?
I think that I had it on invite only.
Okay.
But I think now I know how to put it on. If you just click the link, you could join it. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to figure out and mess with it a little bit more. But you can basically, I think you could download an app too, and you can join it that way. I do it on my PC, so I don't really know. You'd have to ask like Sam or somebody like that. But I think that either way, if you just click on it and say like, let Justin know you're here or something, like it'll basically allow me to let you in or whatever too. So, but it was really neat. We watched a awful movie on YouTube last night called Blood Savage, maybe. That's probably Blood Stalker. I keep getting it confused with something. But that movie was absolutely atrocious. It started off all right, and then it was just absolutely awful. And we essentially, just made fun of it the whole time towards the end. It was not a good movie. I gave it like a 2 out of 10. It was really bad. But that was a 1976 movie. Suffice to say that it will not make my top 10 of 1976.
Right.
But let's talk about Veronica a little bit more, because we kind of got off track a little bit there.
Yeah.
So yeah, this girl basically goes, and there's an eclipse that's happening, and she plays with a Ouija board in the basement of her school. Do we know why she did that?
I think it's had something to do with the eclipse going on, and they I think they were all kind of just into that stuff, like that supernatural stuff, so they wanted to try it out and see if anything weird would happen while the eclipse was happening.
Yeah, so I think she was trying to communicate with her father,
that too.
who we assume is dead. We also get a early, an early character development scenes where we have this girl who's clearly taking care of her siblings. So it seems we learn that she's 15 years old, and she has 3 siblings, and they're all younger than her, and she's like, getting them ready for school and stuff like that. Her little brother wets the bed, so she takes care of that. And you can tell that she is probably the one that's doing most of the mommying parenting at the house.
Yeah.
And her mom, I don't think we see her in too many scenes. But what's her deal?
Well, you learn early on that the dad has passed away, and I believe the mom owns the bar, so she's basically just running this bar all by herself, and she works all day long, apparently, and then comes home and just wants to sleep forever. So she's, it's not like she's out doing drugs and stuff, but she's just working way too much and kind of puts all the dadding responsibilities on her oldest kid.
Yeah, and this movie is set in 1991, which is the year that I was born. I wouldn't say that it definitely has like a 90s vibe to it,
No.
especially because it's culturally different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, you're not going to see like Sega Genesises and all this other stuff that you see in 90s movies that are in America. And pretty much all the clothes they wear is like uniform and stuff like that. So there's not like 90s looking clothes either. So it really could have been set anywhere. But I think that the one cool thing about it being set in the 90s is they did manage to make it feel like a pretty simpler time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't have any like internet or any type of, texting or any of that going on. It's more of a reserved horror film. In terms of the tech that's in it. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, this girl, after she plays this Ouija board, which, by the way, is not, like, a Ouija board. Like a Ouija board is, I think, owned by, like, Hasbro or, like, Milton Bradley or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, they probably couldn't get, like, the actual Ouija board, but they just use, like, a sort of knockoff version.
Yeah, knockoff, yeah.
And when they play with the Ouija board, she kind of goes into like a seizure or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she begins to get haunted. Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say that's like happening in this movie?
It's just she plays the Ouija board and then just strange events start happening in her home afterwards. She's kind of being haunted, and also you suspect the kids are also in danger of this haunting, and it kind of becomes like a haunted apartment type of movie in a way.
Yeah, so what is some of the dangerous things that are happening?
There's one part where she's giving her youngest sibling, a boy, a bath, and then something happens, she walks away, and then all of a sudden, like, the bath water, for some reason, is just way too hot, and he kind of gets a little bit burnt, and, then you also have scenes where late at night, everyone's sleeping, and then something's going on in the girl's room, and then one of the girls suddenly is being attacked by some unseen force, but you don't really know exactly what it is, what's going on per se.
Yeah. So I always have slight issues with these type of movies because it always is frustrating to me that, like, what does this presence want? Why, if they want to kill them, why don't they just do it? Stuff like that. There are very like scary scenes involving like creepy imagery in this film, which I do appreciate. There's a scene where she sees a vision of her father that I thought was really scary. Did you think so?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty scary. One thing that I find scary that like really highlights the scenes is the music, the score throughout it. It's like a whistling, just like very eerie. Like, so I don't know. So these like scenes where you're seeing this like spirit, they're scary, but I also feel like I've seen too many movies like this to where it's not as creepy to me as it should be. Mm-hmm. But that's just me.
Yeah,
but I feel like the music really elevates it.
Yeah, that's one thing that Derek kept pointing out was how good the music is. Like, there's like a synthy music going on too. I'm not a musical expert.
Okay.
So I don't know like what a sound is when it's being done. Like I can't tell you like what kind of instrument it is or what kind of like sound it is. But I know that I like sounds when they sound good, and this movie's filled with good sounding sounds.
It's like, I mean, you know, I was like a band geek in high school. You'd think I'd know, but I never can pick up what instrument is being played. All I always know is it sounds like a whistle, so I assume it's might be a flute or something of that nature. But yeah.
Yeah, so the music's really good, and I'll tell you that the cinematography is very good as well. That's one of the best points in the film. There's actually a scene that I noticed that nobody else noticed that I was watching it with. And it's just like an outside exterior shot from the ground of these like very tall buildings. And the way that the buildings are arranged and connected to each other, they form a cross, which I can't remember if it was an upside down cross or just a cross, but that has nothing to do with the movie, but it's just visual flair that I love when directors add to that, because the shape is a cross. The movie is about, you know, obviously there's nuns and it's very religious. A lot of Spanish films are very religious as well. It's part of their culture. And I thought that the nun was really creepy, the chain-smoking nun. What did you think? That she's blind?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very like rude saying this, but just the sight of like blind eyes really, really creeps me out, especially when they're just wide open and they're just so, you know, glazed over. And then you have this nun just like staring at the sun because it doesn't even faze her. Like that really creeps me out. And the fact that it's a nun also kind of made it creepier for some reason.
Yeah, that scene is pretty awesome when the eclipse is happening and she's just staring at the sun.
Which, by the way, like I feel like it's kind of dangerous to have all those kids out watching this eclipse. Like, you have to be responsible for them all not going blind.
Yeah, this was the 90s. There wasn't as much security and safety.
Fair enough.
What else, man? So, we have we have a scene where she like, okay, let me talk about the girl for a second. Veronica herself. I really like this girl. I thought she did a great job. She has that like nice like homely look to her. Wait, you told me homely's bad, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that means like not taken care of, kind of unfortunate looking.
Okay, well, I didn't mean that. I meant she has like this like basic girl look to her. And she has braces which help you feel like she's 15.
Yeah, that was one. Yeah, I agree. Like, that girl, I don't know if I mean, in the picture on IMDb, she looks much older, but I thought she was actually 15 in the movie, but she could be older than that, but
yeah she's actually a little bit older than that. But this movie was filmed in 2017, so I think she would have only been like a year. If it was filmed in 2016, she would have been 15, I believe.
Okay.
But her current age right now is 17 years old. She was born in the year 2001, and her birthday's in 3 days.
Holy crap! That just made me feel so old.
You.
I mean, the fact that teenagers these days are like born in 2000s and like that they're in high school. I don't know. Never mind. It's just
imagine how
stressful.
I feel. Like the idea of a teenager, like somebody who's 18, was born in the year 2000, to me is just absolutely crazy. Like, I was born in 91. You know what I mean? Like,
you would have been 2 months old when this movie takes place, because it's in June of 91.
Yep, and that's always dates me and makes me feel old. And the longer I'm here, the more old I feel whenever I see stuff like that. Like, in another 10 years, people born in 2010 are gonna be like 18.
Oh God, stop. But anyway, did you like the sibling characters as well, or what did you think of them?
Yeah, I thought they all acted pretty well. They all seemed like little kids. I think the casting was good overall.
Like, I love the little boy. He seemed like he's just like, I'm not gonna wet the bed again, I swear. And then he just keeps doing it, and he's just I love little boys with like glasses. His eyes are all big, and I just think he's so cute.
Yeah, did that remind you of, did you relate to him?
I mean, a little, yeah, he did have the cross-eyed thing going on, so yeah, buddy, I did. Thanks
I
for
meant
bringing...
the wetting the bed thing.
Oh, no.
The character's name is Antonito.
Yes.
Yeah, he was good. I really liked him. He fit the role really well. In this movie, you get a lot of... I don't know, like, I don't really know what... Like, I don't even know what the end result is in this movie. Like, I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, it's hard to... I don't really... I don't want to give too much away, but it's like... I guess I can't... Was this, like, actually based on true events?
Well, I don't know, because they clearly show, like, at the end of the movie, they show pictures from what you would assume is a real location and not the movie location. But they could have just made that for the movie as well,
Because, like, I mean, like, on the trivia, I wanted to look into this more, but, like, I ran out of time. But, like, on the trivia thing on IMDb, it says it is based on true events, so I would have to look more into it. But, yeah, the, like, pictures at the end looked a lot like scenes from the movie, so I really couldn't tell. I mean, either way, it kind of gave me the chills, though, so I'll give it that. But, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that... I mean, I think that like, I'm trying to look up about it right now, and I don't see anything that says that what it was based on. But I assume that I don't know, it could have been, I guess.
I feel like it might have been loosely based on, because it says it was, like, based on that detective's, like, point of view or something from the call he got or something. So it could have just been, like, a story that they took out of proportion and made this big event, but... Yeah. I don't know for a fact, but I mean, getting back...
It's definitely a film that is saying that it's... Not necessarily saying, but it's alluding to the fact that it was based on something, at least in terms of the film. Like that's... I'm not saying that they're saying it for sure was, but in the movie, they're making it look like it was, which could just be movie magic, but it could actually be based on something.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to, like, say back to you talking about the ending, like, it kind of confused me as well. I don't know, I think it's just all supposed to be a haunting movie. There could be metaphorical stuff going on there, but I feel like it was trying to play out as just, like, a big haunting, just this thing got inside their lives and kind of, scrambled things up a bit, so...
Yeah, I liked certain aspects of it. Like, one thing that I don't like is the like, whenever there's a scene and all of a sudden these kids start biting her, and I literally said in chat, I was like, "There's no way this is not a dream sequence," and sure enough, yeah. I was right. Now that dream sequence also, partially bled into reality, quite literally. When you talk about, I don't know if that's supposed to be her getting her first period, or that oh, okay.
Because at the beginning, when she faints, she goes to the nurse, and, like, for some reason, the nurse is, like, asking all these questions, and then she's like, "Are you on your period?" And the girl shakes her head, and the nurse automatically, like, knows that means she's never gotten her period, which I thought was just a weird bunch of dialogue, because it was just a weird assumption, but the girl said she never had gotten her period yet. She's 15.
Yeah. So, that makes sense. That was kind of a cool scene, I guess, like, the blood reveal or whatever, but I don't really like the dream sequences where it's like something happens and you're like, that it's not real. Like, it just seems like a pointless moment after you realize that it's not real. Mm-hmm. I've always disliked that in movies. But there's some other cool, like, haunting-y stuff that happens. Like, I like that the kid got burned by the bathwater. That's kind of cool. The black stuff on the mattress that was, like, in the shape of the person, that was really creepy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That was creepy. I like that. There's like a thing that walks around that just seems like a black mass. I didn't find that very interesting or good at all. It wasn't really scary to me. What did you think about that?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, how I feel like I've seen stuff like that happen before and it just doesn't really get to me. And I feel like that was the main scare factor to this movie. So that's, kind of one of the reasons why this movie's not overly terrifying to me, because that was kind of their main gimmick, or whatever you want to call it, was this black creature kind of walking around their apartments.
Yeah, I mean, I liked when it was in the distance and there would be these shots of it walking outside windows or something like that. That was creepy. I like stuff like that. I'm just saying, whenever you actually see this thing and it actually physically interacts with the humans, and the characters, to me, it just, I don't know. I think it just looks like everything else that's supposed to be a ghostly figure type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's nothing special going on.
That's why I've always gave The Conjuring and Insidious and Annabelle 2 and stuff props, because they create cool demon monsters out of their characters, which I like way more than just your basic black mass.
This movie actually kind of reminded me of The Conjuring Part 2 for some reason. I think it's because you have all these kids kind of living in this apartment and getting haunting, and then the ending scene showing clips of real things. That's kind of the vibe I got from it.
Yeah, it definitely probably could have been inspired by that. I do think that this director is a very good director. Some of the shots in the film were great. I've mentioned that earlier. One in particular is when I think the girl's laying down in bed and she gets up and the camera follows her up. That was really cool. Do you remember that shot?
Yeah, I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, and then just watching it a couple hours ago, I was like, holy crap, that was weird.
Yeah, it was really good, and I think that there's a solid atmosphere that's done throughout. When the girls first go down into the basement of the school, it's really creepy. Are they in the school?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really creepy down there and stuff, and it's kind of cool how they're floating around down there, and it's just, playing the Ouija board, which is, something that kids do, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Have you ever played one?
Yeah, I have, back when probably my junior year of high school, I had one. I found my grandma, had one, and she, passed away, but, she, all her old, classic games were left behind, and she happened to have one, so me and some of my friends played it a few times at my old house.
Yeah, I never actually messed with one.
It does nothing. Yeah, nothing happened. My one friend Cody actually tried to scare the crap out of everyone and pretended to faint, but besides joking around, nothing happened.
We actually, there was a time where one time a couple of my friends we're gonna go to this abandoned house and light up some candles and do it in there. I was supposed to hang out with them that night, ended up not going. But they did do it.
Did anything happen?
I mean, they said it did, but I've never heard one person play a Ouija board and say that nothing happened.
I know. I hate that so much. And then the stories people tell are always just so out there. That's why I'm just being honest here and saying, nothing happened. But
yeah. And of course my friend Martin would swear to God and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
swear on my papa's life, yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy who's actually with them, I'm 100%, that's the type of guy that would move that thing all around.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
So what else do you feel about this one?
Overall, I mean, it was enjoyable. I didn't mind watching it a second time because, sometimes when I have to rewatch a movie, I'm just oh man, I just watched it. I don't really feel like watching it again. But I actually enjoyed it probably even more the second time around. I mean, it's a little bit confusing. Another thing I like is just the idea of this girl having to take care of her siblings and kind of live her life by herself, and then having trouble with her friends at high school, having that drama go on where her friends are suddenly being weird towards her because of what they did, and then it just feels very lonely because this girl can't even go home and cry to her parents or anything like that because she basically is the parent. I kind of like that aspect to it.
Yeah, I really like the aspect of her taking care of her siblings. That's really cool.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was, pretty good, pretty solid. It didn't really scare me that much. I knew the hype was pretty big on it going into it, but so I didn't really take that into consideration because I knew I wasn't going to have a heart attack while watching it or anything like that. So didn't really let that bother me, but at the same time, it really just wasn't overly scary to me. There were a few times where I did get cool chills, and I have to give it credit for that because if it can give me, and it gave me chills like the second time around too. So if it can do that, then high praise to it. So.
Yeah, I think that anytime a film could, give me cold chills or scare me a little bit, I have to give it props. Kind of to wind down here and get into ratings, because this is a really hard film to talk about because it's a slow burn, really. Like, it's more about atmosphere. There's not a ton of dialogue. Yeah, there's a little bit of mythology that comes later in the film where the girl tries to stop whatever's happening and stuff like that. But it's kind of a basic movie with not a ton of, substance in terms of, conflict besides the main narrative, which is just they're being haunted. There's not a ton of stuff outside of that, which is painful for a review. As you can see, we've probably stretched the movie. This is a slow burn review because we stretched the review out a little bit to make sure we covered some stuff. But yeah, it's just not the type of movie that is great for reviewing. But it was a solid movie, and to kind of get into ratings here, I will go first. I do think that this movie is good on maybe a extremely slow year, which it actually is. This could sneak into a low top 10 or 15 list. I personally don't think that it'll actually make my list. I could see if you're watching this movie and you hadn't heard anything about it and you hit play, it probably would be pretty solid to you. Like, you'd be like, wow, that was such a cool, find. Unfortunately, I do think the hype got to me a little bit. I expected it to be a little bit more scary, a little bit more good than it actually is. And it is good. I just expected it to be better considering the amount of hype. I don't know if that hurt my rating. I try not to let stuff like that hurt my rating, but it probably influenced the way I, and how much I enjoyed the film. But on a pure technical standpoint, I think it's a pretty well-made movie. A lot of it just didn't appeal to me because it almost felt like a lot of, we've seen this before. And I even said that in the chat. I was like, see, and this was 20 minutes in. I was like, the problem with these type of movies is they really have to do different and unique stuff for them to be effective and not feel like you're just retreading the same, film again and again. I do think that the cinematography and the score kind of set it apart from the average type of movie that came out. If it didn't have that, I think this film would be just slightly above average. But luckily we got some good technical filmmaking going on. So with that said, I think that I'm probably comfortable coming in at about a 7 out of 10.
All right. I mean, I pretty much basically agree with everything you just said. Like I said, I tried not to let the hype get to me because I knew it wasn't going to be nearly as good as things and people were saying. So, but still at the same time going in, I was just a little disappointed because not only was it not turn off horrifying worthy, but it really wasn't overly that scary at all for me, honestly. But I could see how it could be pretty creepy for other people. And like I said, there were some moments towards the ending mainly that gave me the chills and, managed to do it twice. So that's a big plus for me. And I thought the film was beautiful. I really liked how the location is for the most part, kind of set in this apartment and then like in the school and things like that. I think they picked good locations for it, and the score was good. Even the music that they're using in it, like obviously it's all in Spanish, but I thought it was kind of interesting music choices, and I really enjoyed the characters as well. I think they all did a good job for being so young, and I came in with a 7.5 out of 10.
Cool. And as you were talking there, I actually did look up a little bit more information. And it does seem like this is based on a case that happened in the year 1990 in the same city, involving some police cars and, you know, a squad that goes into a house. And the police chief or whoever went in said that he was too scared to go back inside the house. And basically, apparently, a girl mysteriously died after using a Ouija board. So it turns out that there is some information that you can look up online about the true case, which is definitely cool and could actually, you know, affect my enjoyment of the movie if I learned a little bit more about it.
Yeah, that just you just saying that gave me chills, because it makes it even if the movie kind of sucks, like it makes it 10 times creepier if it's based on some true event.
Mm-hmm. And there actually is a YouTube video from Definition. I have not checked it out, but it popped up in the Google search. It says Veronica movie, ending explained, and real life true story. So that video might break it down and sort of tell you a little bit more about the story. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like when movies have like more information that I could look up afterwards. Typically when it's a movie that's like really violent and brutal, it's better to not look up that information, but ghost stuff I'm fine with reading about. So yeah, that's it for today's Netflix and Chill horror podcast. We will be back very soon with something else. It's my pick. I'm trying to think about what I want to do right now. I'm almost leaning towards Ritual, but I kind of want to do Santa Clarita Diet too. But I know Ritual would be a faster watch. Santa Clarita, we might need a little bit more time.
Yeah, I mean, Santa Clarita is probably going to be like my pick, honestly, if you don't pick it, because like I freaking loved the first season and can't wait to dive into that. So we'll probably, it's safe to say,
well, if you say that, then how about I pick Ritual for the next show and we can start watching Santa Clarita Diet for the show after.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Safe to say we'll do both.
All right. So that's our next 2 episodes.
Yay!
All right. Carly, do you want to bounce us up out of here?
Oh, man. Okay. Thank you guys for listening to episode 15 of the Netflix and Chill podcast. I'm Carly. And
I am JP.
And we are out of here.
Peace.
Peace.